the cable. And we'll be right back.
More and more cable customers are getting their cable internet package upgraded for free.
I paid 3 months and I got upgraded from flash to bolt. So now I'm actually paying less for more.
Yes, up to double speeds and savings of up to $200 per month just for using your card to pay your bill.
I had this bolt package, then I got this platinum card and I paid my bill with that. They have upgraded me to Strike, which is almost double the speed now.
All it takes is a little loyalty. Use your Cable Platinum Loyalty MasterCard to pay 3 consecutive cable bills.
I was upgraded from Flash to the Bolt after paying my bill on time for 3 consecutive months, and I'm now enjoying the free upgrade.
To keep the upgrade, just continue using your Platinum Loyalty Card to pay your cable bills. Pay your bill in-store or online at www.thecable.net. Sign up for the Cable Platinum Loyalty Card today and get more. Terms and conditions apply.
All right, we are back. We're back. Welcome to episode 56, man. 56 is only good news. And I just want to make sure we're streaming, right? I can't see myself. I can't see myself streaming. What's happening? What's popping? Anyway, so welcome to Only Good News, episode 56. Oh yeah, I see we're streaming. We're streaming. I can see myself. Brilliant. Sometimes these technologies just don't work the way we want them to. So, but I'm happy to see myself on the video thingamajig. Best part of the week. The best part of the week, the best part of the good news, the best news ever was the schools opened. Ding, 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 ding. Those of us who have been just home with our children and waiting for school to start and like, when are we gonna? Listen, it's good news, okay? We're trying a little thing, okay? We are taking some risks. We understand that, but at the end of the day, this is my take on what's happening, okay? This is my take on what's happening. I think we've reached a stage where we have reached a threshold, a good threshold when it comes to our vaccination numbers. I feel that there are certain institutions and certain places that have some very stringent protocols, and we, at this point, should not punish an entire industry or ministry just because of some places not adhering to some of those protocols. I think we can start taking things on a case-by-case basis, institution by institution basis, organization by organization, company by company basis, or class-by-class basis. So far, I'm just speak for my daughter's school. It has been a good week so far with the stringent measures where we can't even come out the cars in the morning to drop our kids off. Like the teachers someone has to take you from the car, have to check your temperature before you even come out the car and follow the lines and the segmentations and everything, man. Yeah, so I'm happy. At least me. I've been home and multitasking and daddying and working and all that, but now I can actually do a little bit more. So I'm happy about that. Other piece of good news that's been going on, the Patriots won, and then they did not. CPL has been going on, another polarizing topic, but listen, life is going on, right? And cricket is being played louder and softer, and the Patriots won, I think, 5 games straight, and then I think they've lost 3 straight. I don't know what that means. I think they're going to. I think they have like 2 more. I think they play 10 games, and then is a playoffs or something. All I know is that they've done. They gave us reasons to cheer and to fear. But all in all, I'm very happy about what they've done so far. Other piece of good news happened today. Elaine Thompson showed us that, she's now officially a 10-6 runner. Like, when you have those outliers where somebody runs 10-6 and then they never run it again, then they're not a 10-6 runner. They're like a 10-8 runner. But she's run 10-6 or 10-5 on 10-5 once, and I think 10-6 at least twice. and then 10-7 a bunch of multiple times this year. So she won the Diamond League finals today in Zurich, and kudos to her, man. Disappointed she didn't break the world record, but it's gonna come. It's gonna come. All right. So what else? I normally cover news that's happening locally and regionally, and so now let's fly across the pond. We're gonna fly across the pond now. Have you ever been hired for a job? By the way, my guest says she's knocking and she can't get in. So somebody please go let her in. I don't know. Okay. She says she pressed the call button, but there's no answer. Anyway, have you ever been hired for a job and you just belting out those notes, singing your heart out, and all of a sudden you land a record deal? Well, this plumber has landed a record deal after a music mogul heard him singing while he fitted his bathroom. Ah, man. A plumber is flush with success. Oh my gosh, these people writing. Good one. Good pun. A plumber is flush with success after he landed a record deal when a music mogul heard him singing while he fitted his bathroom. 49-year-old Kev Crane spent 6 weeks installing a new suite at the home of Paul Conneely, complete unaware that he was the owner of a record label. Now, Kev would spend his working day singing along to his favorite tunes on the radio, including David Bowie and Meatloaf. Now, the record company boss, Paul, was so impressed with his tones that he gave him a deal. And now he's made his first album. Now, Kev was shocked when Paul offered him a chance to sing on his new royalty records, which he has artists from Brazil, New York, and Britain. Now, stunned Kev of Leicestershire said, "I got a call to go and quote some bathrooms, and I thought, fair enough. Then I started to work at Paul's house, and then I like to sing while I'm working, and he pulled me into the living room for a night for a conversation about my singing voice, and I started telling him that I love music, and that I used to be in a band and had written an album, more of a hobby really, and I was shocked when he said he wanted to hear it. I sent him the album on Friday, and thought if I didn't hear from him over the weekend, I just can't go back to work for him on a Monday and just carry. I just can't go back working for him on Monday and just carry out the fittings." But anyway, the man got a record deal because he was singing while he was doing his plumbing. Good one. Next one piece of good news. Good news. What's going on? An airport piano player earned $60,000 in tips after a stranger shared videos of him on Instagram. When Tony Valentine Carter sits in front of a piano, his fingers take on a life of their own, dancing across the keys as he smiles, closes his eyes, and sinks into a melody. Now, Carter, 66, isn't famous, but he does perform for an international audience nearly every day at Hartsfield-Jacksonville, Atlanta International Airport, and travelers are lucky enough to hear him often and find themselves hypnotized to his music. Well, this is what happened to him. A motivational speaker was traveling home on one particular day, and he was super bummed because he had to. His engagement was canceled. His speaking engagement was canceled, and he was walking through the concourse and he heard some brilliant piano, and he decided to basically share what he was doing on Instagram. He said, "Listen, I asked if my Instagram followers, if it could give him the biggest tip he's ever gotten, and within 30 minutes, he had raised $10,000." And after a couple of minutes and more, they had raised, by the time he had landed in his destination, they raised over $61,000. Now despite he has health problems, but he's the happiest man in the world. So again, good news. All right, more good news. This one was dear to my heart a little bit. I like watching Shark Tank and Dragon's Den. Ruminate, a STEM toy company acquired after Shark Tank. Now, this is not one of these usual stories of they go there and they pitch their pitch and then they get their equity given to the investors and everything. But what really spoke to me, these entrepreneurs were two women. One of them was an electrical engineer. One of them was an engineer in college, and the other one was some other STEM major, I can't remember. Mechanical engineers, actually. They pursue their degrees at Stanford University, and they pitched their pitch, which is a really cool dollhouse. If I could find one of these for my daughter, I'm going to get them, because it is a dollhouse that you can build, but you have to also build a circuit. So you can connect electrical components. You can create a fan. You can create things that move and lights that turn on, but you have to build a circuit. So when they pitched and were asking $500,000 for 2% equity in the business. And Mark Cuban, everybody else dropped out except for Mark Cuban. And you know what he said? Listen, I'm going to give you $500,000 for 2% on one contingency. And that is my 2 little girls get to come and be interns at your company, because they need role models to motivate them to know that they can actually be more than what they're currently being and doing. I love that story because, again, it's thinking outside the mold. We need more women involved in STEM. That way you can continue to bridge that earning inequality gap that is permeating in our societies. All right, next story. I left this one, man. A 5-year-old author stuns with second book. St Kitts and Nevis travelogue. Corinne Anaya Clark. This article was written by Carla Berridge. Love you, Cara. Love your articles. Keep doing what you're doing. You're bringing stories to the wider Caribbean and featuring St. Kitts in such a positive way. Keep doing what you're doing, girl. She writes here, it's an undisputed fact that reading greatly contributes to the cognitive and social development of children. Now, book transports us to places far removed from where we exist and provide an avenue through which we can venture into an area that would otherwise be unknown. Now, if you had doubts about that, you just need to take a look at the Trinidadian author. Come on, she's from St. Kitts. Okay. Trinidadian Kittitian author, Corinne Anaya Clark. Just 5 years old, she's already published 2 books and already on her way to publishing a 3rd book. This book actually features her going to different places in St. Kitts and gives you a fun way of looking at historical sites and places in St. Kitts through her eyes. And it's actually illustrated and available on Amazon. And she, like I said, she's written a book already. And an award American author, Tiffany Warren, says, I enjoyed reading Miss Corinne's adventure to visit her 97-year-old grandmother in St. Kitts and Nevis. The descriptions of the landmarks and sites were educational and vivid. The vocabulary is great for the advanced readers. Miss Corinne makes me want to visit St. Kitts and Nevis soon, especially the botanical gardens with the lovely beaches. And the premier of Nevis was impressed. He has a quote. He says, I think this book is fantastic. To see through the eyes of a 5-year-old what has happened in the Caribbean and her adventures in St. Kitts and Nevis, I think it's absolutely phenomenal. I read it and I'm very impressed by it and continue to encourage this young author to continue to write about her experiences. I think that the vision that she has ought to be commended and certainly encourage others to learn about the Caribbean, to visit the Caribbean and to enjoy the Caribbean. This is our Caribbean. Let us enjoy it. She's writing her 3rd book and it's going to be coming out in weeks. And she writes poems, she writes letters, she sings songs. I mean, come on. 5 years old. 5 years old. What are you doing yourself? What were you doing yourself as a 5-year-old? I don't know. Anyway, that's enough for our top good news stories. We are going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to be talking to my guest who's in the studio. Yay. All right, right back. Good.
More and more cable customers are getting their cable internet package upgraded for free.
I paid 3 months and I got upgraded from Flash to Bolt. So now I'm actually paying less for more.
Yes, up to double speeds and savings of up to $200 per month just for using your card to pay your bill.
I had this Bolt package, then I got this platinum card and I paid my bill with that. They have upgraded me to Strike, which is almost double the speed now.
All it takes is a little loyalty. Use your Cable Platinum Loyalty MasterCard to pay 3 consecutive cable bills.
I was upgraded from Flash to the Bolt after paying my bill on time for 3 consecutive months, and I'm now enjoying the free upgrade.
To keep the upgrade, just continue using your Platinum Loyalty Card to pay your cable bills. Pay your bill in-store or online at www.thecable.net. Sign up for the Cable Platinum Loyalty Card today and get more. Terms and conditions apply.
We're back. We're back. I hope we can see my guest. Wait, Mr. Man, you playing Lingus? All right. So, let me make sure I can see everybody. Can we see her? All right. Wonderful. So, thank you for coming, Miss Manchester.
Yes.
First of all, I'm going to say happy belated birthday to you.
Thank you.
And what did you do last week?
I just went to dinner. It was low-key compared to previous birthdays because I've been very busy over the last couple of weeks. So very low-key birthday this year, but very nice nonetheless.
Do you watch the Avengers?
I have.
So why did you have Loki on your birthday? He's very naughty. Why didn't you just get Captain America, or better yet, like Iron Man? Why was it a Loki birthday?
Such a dad joke.
Of course.
Such a dad joke.
But you almost forgot it was your birthday.
I almost forgot for the first time in my life, actually. I'm very big on special occasions and celebrating them and making sure they count every year. So I usually don't forget things like that. But, you know, as I said, I've been quite busy over the last couple of weeks, so it almost slipped me.
Almost. Well, almost counted. So, the curly OBGYN. What's the curly story about?
I recently returned to my natural hair, so I just made up this Instagram page to kind of document my natural hair journey, but you know, that's just for fun. So, you know, that's not actually, you know, a part of the whole OBGYN thing. I just needed an Instagram handle and I just
But I think it's catchy. Are you the
You
only
like
one?
Huh?
Are you the only one who has such a handle?
Yeah, well, that's why I picked it, because that was available. So, yeah.
And you didn't have to put any numbers.
No, I did not. So
I think you can exploit it a little bit more.
yeah, well, you know, I mean, I have other things I need to, you know, focus on now. So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So, humble beginnings. You were very close to your dad and mom.
I was. Yeah.
Were you more of a daddy's girl?
I absolutely was a daddy's girl. So, you know, he passed away in 2018, end of 2018. But we were very, very close. And, you know, he was a lot of the motivation behind basically everything I did. You know, a lot of guidance and support and a sounding board for almost everything. So, you know, there's definitely a void. But, you know, I also see him in almost everything I do every day.
So what was it like being a daughter to someone who was so spread out in different industries, and like he was in sports, he was in event stuff, he was in telecommunications, he was I think with cricket and what.
And the National Trust. And
that too, yes.
Yeah, many things.
That's a legend.
Yeah, I agree with you totally.
Cultured.
Yeah, very cultured, well-read. And yeah, you're right. He was spread amongst many things, and he was almost a community dad too. You know, a lot of people, a lot of my friends growing up and colleagues now and everything, they consider him, you know, a father figure as well. So, you know, that's something that makes me proud. You know, I never felt a sense of, you know, that I was, you know, I had to share him, although I kind of was, but I never felt that. So it speaks to just how well he was, how well he was able to connect with everybody, and especially his family.
Well, let me give you an anecdote, because there is a connection between your father and where I am today.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Tell me that story.
Back in 2000 and maybe 2007, I was teaching at the college,
Okay.
and I had him come and give a presentation to my students about what he does, and he was talking about telecommunications. And I said to myself, I was like, hold up. I went to him, I said, listen, I'm considering going into this field. Like, tell me more about it. And I mean, shortly after that, I applied to DePaul University to study telecommunication systems and networking, and that's what I got my master's in.
Oh, nice.
Your father planted that
seed.
And everything that I am now, in terms of from a professional development, can be traced back to that seed.
Okay.
So every like I was a teacher, and that's who I am at heart. But he because I didn't know anything about that area, to be honest. I went into an area that I knew absolutely nothing about, and he kind of just gave me a little bit that. So he indeed was a community dad, and you can see a direct correlation.
Yeah. That's a really heartwarming story.
Yes.
Happy to hear that.
So did he always see that you were going to be a doctor, or what was he seeing when you were little?
Well, I wanted to be a gynecologist, not just a doctor. I wanted to be an OBGYN since childhood.
Sweet.
Yeah. I don't know if you know this TLC show. I don't know if it airs anymore, but it's called A Baby Story.
I've heard about it.
Yeah, it's basically a show that chronicles towards the end of a woman's and her family's, like their pregnancy and childbirth, and immediately after the birth of the baby, kind of follows them and everything that happens. And I used to be glued to that show. Like, I thought it was the most fascinating process, and I just knew that I wanted to be involved in that process, in some way as my career of choice. And that, as I said, was since childhood. And in terms of my dad, he was the type of dad that would support his children's dream, regardless to what they were. So, once he knew and saw that that's what I wanted, he was supportive from day one. There was never a question of whether or not I'd be able to pursue it. It was just, how.
So were your toys dolls and babies?
Yeah, they
and
were.
stuff?
Yeah, I had typical girl toys.
And you practiced delivering babies with those, or you did all that?
I'm trying to remember if I actually practiced delivering. I don't think I actually
make
did.
believe, like.
Probably, I probably did. Maybe with the baby dolls and stuff, but yeah. So since I was fairly young, I knew that's what I wanted to do.
Now, with my interactions with Dad, he struck me as somebody who had a very healthy sense of humor.
He did.
And if you don't mind sharing any one of those moments or periods where you just couldn't stop laughing, something silly, or he was a jolly, jolly man.
Let me see if I can think of one. Okay, you give me one first.
I can give you one with my father.
Okay.
My father, because he passed also, but one of the things I loved about my father was that if I was told not to go anywhere, like my mom says, you're not supposed to leave the house, and I would time wherever she's gone, and I would leave. If Dad is on the road, he's not going to see, okay? He's going to drive past. We always loved it because he knew you could wave and whatever, but he would never ever. Another anecdote was when in Holland, the sign for rent is spelled Tekoup, Tekoup.
Okay.
And Dad doesn't speak Dutch.
Okay.
So when we went to visit him, he was like, this Tekoup person is very rich. He seems to own a lot of these properties.
His name is everywhere.
Anyway, your mom, your love language was acts of service and quality time. Would you say she rubbed off on you in that way?
Yes, somewhat. I think I have different love languages to her.
Oh.
In some regard. But, you know, because like for her, you know, I would buy her gifts and she was never impressed. There was never a gift I gave her that she was impressed by. It was always, yeah, it's nothing to shout about. That was her favorite phrase, nothing to shout about. I mean, not like in everyday things I'd ask her if she liked. It's always never nothing to shout about. But with gifts and stuff, obviously she'd be appreciative. But, you know, a month later, it'd be in the corner gathering dust, right? But she, you know, in terms of doing things, you know, you clean a whole house for her, and that's like the best thing you could do. And same with her, like whenever we would go, my mom has a lot of siblings all over the world, and we go and visit her siblings, and we get there tonight, and by the next morning she cleaned her whole house. That was the kind of thing she did. She very acts of service kind of woman, you know. So something I really, you know, appreciate about her.
Did you ever wish you had a sister to play with? Because you have a brother.
I probably did when I was very young, but I didn't grow up feeling like I lacked a sibling. Like I didn't feel like I needed another sibling. Me and my brother grew up, we were just 2 years apart, so we were very close growing up, and we're still very close. So, you know, we did a lot together. Obviously, those teenage years, it kind of clashed for a while. But then by the time we got to like older teen years, we were very close and did almost everything together, or almost like best friends at one point. He lives in Canada, and, you know how distance is, but as I said, we're still very close. So I never felt a void for another sibling, really.
Yeah, I have a sister. My sister's 2 years younger than me too.
Oh, okay.
And
so you know it is then.
I wanted a brother, man.
You wanted a brother?
When we were younger, because I used to get in trouble, you know, because my father would always, she would instigate, and then I would react, and my dad was like, "You're not supposed to hit girls." I'm like, "But you're not supposed to," you know, and he just continued, you know, so I was like, okay.
Yeah.
But, you know, that was, I think our last fight was maybe when I was 5 or 6.
Okay, see, yeah,
Right.
you know, as you get more mature and stuff.
Nah, she was willful. We had my side, your side of the room, my side, your side of the bed. I would draw a line. I'm like, "You're not supposed to cross this line."
Oh my gosh.
And she would willfully, there was this one time, we had our beds pushed together. I was like, "This is my side and this is your side. And you're not supposed to come on my side." And she went and just sprawled herself in the middle of the bed, of both of them. So I pulled them apart.
You were serious.
Yeah.
You were serious.
Yeah.
I don't think our fights got that serious.
So, you have your education background features Jamaica and Canada. What are some fun memories that give you that sense of nostalgia about any of those two places?
Canada, well, I'll tell you this. When I left St. Kitts right after sixth form, so I was only 17 when I left.
Ooh.
So it was definitely a culture shock because it wasn't like I was used to. It was Canada, right? I was born in Canada, but I've been living in St. Kitts since I was about 3. So basically all I know is St. Kitts. So I go to Canada where it's cold. And it's not like here where you pretty much know everybody, and if somebody passes you, they're going to say good afternoon and that kind of thing. It's pretty much you're there and you're there to do something, and everyone's just on their own agenda. Nobody really, you know, looking out for each other in that kind of setting in university. So it was definitely a culture shock, and I think within a month of me being there, I wanted to come back.
Ooh.
I was bawling and calling my mom like, I want to come back home. And she's like, "Carisi, what are you going to come back home and do?" And I was just, you know, that first year was definitely an adjustment. But I also had a very strong support system in Canada. You know, I have uncles and aunts there. Shout out to Auntie John and Uncle John if you're listening. Yeah, so they helped me with my adjustment. So, you know, by second year, I was pretty, you know, comfortable and stuff. And kind of got used to it, but my heart was still home. And if my exams finish today, I'm on a plane tomorrow to St Kitts. So
this is home.
that's how Canada was. So I really just went to school there. You did? Yeah, it's an adjustment, man. Like, island life is definitely different, I'm telling you. And I know that I'm an island girl. I know I'm an island girl.
So Jamaica was more.
So
more
you see, when I reached Jamaica, I was like, oh, yes. I was like, yes, this is what I needed, So Jamaica was definitely an easier transition, and I felt like I fit in a lot better there. So I made friends a lot quicker, and, I found my way around easier, and, just adjusted to life there. It's like my second home, really. I still have very good friends there, and before the pandemic, obviously, I frequented there still, even though I was finished with school. So yeah, Jamaica, I enjoyed my time there for sure. It's a very cultural place, so you get to experience a lot of different things, plays and dance shows and, the parties, of course.
So you have fun.
Oh, definitely.
So you can dance.
I try. I try.
What part of that culture would you say you would like to bring back home here?
The food.
Yeah.
The food, I'm telling you, man. I still miss the food.
The jerk.
The ackee and saltfish, the just everything. The food there is on another level.
But why is it so? Can St Kitts go to Jamaica and have a St Kitts joint where we can speak about it in the same way we can bring Jamaica and say this is a Jamaican joint to say like we eat. What is it about St Kitts that we can take and ship somewhere else?
I think we can. I don't see why we can't. We have our own dishes here too. We have our own cultural things that we can take anywhere. I think, obviously Jamaica is more popular because they have a little bit more reach in terms of global, like being on the map and stuff. But, we can take our culture anywhere, I think.
So, I'm curious now about what you do, delivering babies.
Okay.
And because that's something that you can't practice. And it's not something you can't, there's no simulator. You can't go and fly it.
There actually are simulators.
There's simulators?
Yeah.
So I'm wrong? I'm ignorant?
Yeah.
Wow.
There are simulators. For almost anything in medicine now, you can find simulators.
So you can...
It's obviously not the same, right? There's situations that will happen in real life that you can't put on a simulator, but there are simulators. There's, pelvises and, vaginas and babies that will come through them.
Really?
Yeah. Made of latex or plastic or. Yeah.
Do they have the fake blood and everything, or is
I'm sure they do. I haven't seen one with fake blood yet because you don't really need the fake blood per se, but there's simulators where the patient, the mummy, the dummy that's a mummy, they have names. But they can be made to have a low blood pressure. They can be made to have a high pulse or that kind of thing. So, which would happen if you're having a lot of blood loss and that kind of thing. So they can simulate a patient deteriorating, kind of, yeah.
I'm shocked.
Yeah. And so I've had courses in Jamaica where you're using the simulator and you're doing whatever you're doing for the patient, and then the consultant, who is your lecturer, will just take the remote or whatever and put in a code or something and then the patient's blood pressure just starts dropping. And so they're waiting for you to react and see what you're going to do for the patient based on whatever they've caused the patient to have.
But does the subject change like physically, or it's just information you just have to process?
It's just information you have to process, at least on the ones I've used.
Okay, I'll pick my job.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll pick my.
I'm sure in the first world countries they may have more sophisticated simulators, but
Yeah, with the proliferation of artificial intelligence, we should be able to. Okay, the pressure's dropping, and then
blood everywhere.
blood everywhere, whatever, and temperature rises and all of that. Yeah, that would be really cool. But I didn't know that you guys actually got to practice on that. So what was it like doing your first real
Delivery.
Yes.
So how they do it in residency is, not even residency, you learn to do deliveries in medical school, which, is different to residency. So you do medical school first. Once you're a doctor, then you can go on to specialize, and that's when you do residency. So in medical school, you are taught how to do deliveries. And so I saw my first delivery as a medical student. And I remember being in the room, and I'm thinking to myself, this isn't gonna fit. This is gonna blow any minute. Like, it just, and I remember having to force myself to look. Like, I almost wanted to look away, because I was like, this isn't gonna fit.
To come out.
How is it going to come out?
Yep. Thank you.
I did think that, but it came out and it did fit. So, but yeah, you have to observe a few first before they actually let you do it. And it's important to note, that a lot of my obstetric, teachings didn't come from a lot of doctors. Doctors did show me some things, especially with complicated deliveries, but a lot of the delivery things that I learned came from the nurses. The midwives are who really teach you how to deliver, right? So I definitely want to shout out the midwives. They're very special people, and they have taught me a lot of the obstetrics that I know. And so, those first deliveries that you do, it's the midwives because you get a procedure card and you have to do like 15 of them or something, and the midwives are who sign off to say that you did them, because those are the people that you do them with. So as I said, the first one was a little scary to watch, but as I watched more and as I did them myself, you get used to it, and you realize that the female body is very resilient and very good at what it's meant to do. So I got used to it after a while, obviously. So you do, as I said, 15 of them where I was trained. You had to do 15 as a medical student, and then once you're in residency, that's when you really get to do a lot of them. And I trained at a service hospital. I wasn't trained at a private hospital or anything. The hospital at the university in Kingston is a semi-private hospital. But most of my training was at Cornwall Regional Hospital in Montego Bay, and that's a service hospital, meaning a public hospital. So lots and lots of patients, and you kind of have to, so you get a lot of exposure, you get a lot of patient volume. So I learned pretty quickly my trade. I learned pretty quickly because I was expected to do a lot more at an early stage, as opposed to if I had trained at at the university hospital. Because since it's a semi-private institution, they don't get as many patients as, say, the Kingston Public Hospital, KPH, or the Cornwall Regional Hospital in Mobay.
Well, I tip my hat to you, and that sense of trepidation I went through when my daughter was born. I was wondering how it was going to come out. I was just like, okay, it's dilating to 3, whatever, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm like, what's that? Like,
yeah.
And then I'm like, okay. And then she was there, and next thing, I'm hearing a lot of screaming. The person doing the delivery was screaming at me, and she was screaming at me. And the next thing,
I
just see the head pop out. I'm like, What? And then a lot of blood, and
Yeah.
and I was like, "What? Is she okay? Is she okay? Is she okay? Is she okay?" He said, "Yeah, she's fine." I was like, "How do you know?" And then I didn't know it was a boy or girl.
Oh.
So the first thing I looked, because I wanted a boy, I was like,
Oh.
I was like, oh,
But
dang.
you're such a good girl, Dad.
Let me tell you, this is the phrase I always use. I wanted a boy, but I got what I needed.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
So, wow.
Yeah.
So I know, I did meet you shortly after you came home,
I'm trying to
Yeah, I was
remember.
at a salon on Church Street.
Oh.
Yeah, my daughter and her mom were doing her hair. And,
Oh, I think I remember this. I think I remember
And
this.
She was
Yeah.
like, yeah, she came back from school.
Yeah.
She's now a doctor. She's like, I was like, oh. But now looking at your brand spanking new office.
Yeah.
Where was that? When we needed that?
So
My
it was
goodness.
a long time coming. It was a long
My
time
goodness.
coming.
By the way, people, if you haven't seen that office, if you want to transform and travel, if you want to travel to another place within the
boy.
sands in St Kitts and know that you're in another world, go to Manchester Medical.
Yeah.
Because you go in there and the sense of serenity and peace and purity
Oh, wow.
that you feel when you're in that building is to behold. It's just, yes. So I can imagine a mother going in there and frantic, and as soon as you go in there, you're just like, oh.
She's calm.
You have to be calm. So speak a little bit about that journey and what that means to you to know that you have your own practice and the look and feel and how you got to that point.
Okay, so yeah, it was a long time coming. When I first came back, I had just had my daughter, so I wasn't quite ready to have her be so young and not only work at the hospital, Joseph and France General Hospital, but also have a private practice, because I knew what kind of practice I wanted to run, and I knew I wouldn't have been able to do that with a infant, So, so I took the time to just work at the hospital until she got older. And then when I started to work on the actual renovation of the office, because the space I got was not coordinated in a way that could accommodate a medical practice. So I had to do a lot of renovations down there, and I wanted it to look a certain way. I wanted it to be modern. I wanted it to be fresh. I wanted patients to feel like they were coming to a modern practice.
Yep.
And because I'm a modern type of doctor. Like I'm fresh out of school almost. So I, although even though I am a modern type of doctor, I take a lot of guidance from my colleagues who came before me. Dr. Jeffers is a big mentor of mine, and Dr. Nariani, I work very closely with him at the hospital. So, but I had goals for the type of practice I wanted, and so I was willing to take the time to formulate my office how I wanted it and the vision I saw for it. And so the renovation took long. It took long, I'm not gonna lie. Like my start date kept having to be pushed back. It was January 1st this year, then it was February 1st, and it was March 1st, then it just kept being pushed back because things took a while. But, we got it to where it needed to be, and it's here now. So,
What type of
happy.
technology is in there that you feel is setting you apart?
So I won't say there's any real technology in there that's unique to the practice itself. It has typical things that an OBGYN would use. But as I said, just how I wanted it to feel when you come in there is different in my opinion.
It feels very modern and futuristic and everything, so you're selling success off the bat.
Definitely plan to live up to it, so.
So wow.
You guys make it so it's already far.
Okay, it's not a rape.
No, it's
And I think I don't know. I know he's making it sound like he's a little. He's embellishing a little bit. I think. But
no, I'm describing it
You are?
exactly
Okay.
how I saw it.
Okay, fine.
So, you know,
Shout out to Ivan Hanley who did all the decor and all the designing and all the everything down there was a lot of his handiwork. So shout out to
Ivan
him.
stickler for detail
Very much so.
and function.
Absolutely. So
Stickler for detail and
yes,
function.
Yes. So
Anybody who's worked with Ivan will know that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't work with him, it's because you do not like to pay attention to detail and function.
Yes, he did a really good job down there. So, you know, if you want an office like that, you know, you
Talk
feel
to
free
Ivan.
to talk to Ivan.
Yeah, me and him have our, whenever I sit down with him, I feel smarter.
Yeah.
We have our little get-togethers and we just exchange ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, until the next time. I can't wait for the next one. Ivan, if you're listening, yeah, I'm ready. I need to sharpen some more iron. So now when I'm watching IT movies, right? I cringe when there's stuff that's happening that doesn't really add up. How do you feel when you're watching medical movies and things don't, can you really enjoy
Listen,
it?
one of the shows that I tried to watch and I just had to just stop was Grey's Anatomy.
I knew that was coming.
Like, I'm like, this is so unrealistic. Like, this would never happen. This is just too much. I did like House though, cause they're.
Oh, I love House.
Yeah, I like House, cause they're a little bit more like real life.
He had a part
Yeah, he
in that.
goes overboard too.
Yeah.
But you know, he's not as bad as Grey's Anatomy. Grey's Anatomy is just too much. So I couldn't even. I tried to watch it and I just couldn't. So I think I watched maybe 2 episodes. I watched an episode where a patient somehow ended up with a bomb inside their like abdomen. And somebody had like or was it a grenade? I don't know what it was. Something that you had to keep your hand on whatever was gonna detonate if you moved your hand. So the person gets wheeled in to the hospital with somebody's hand in their chest or whatever on this bomb, right? And the person, when what's her name? Miranda Gray, Meredith, whatever her name is, the star, comes in to assess the person with the hand in the chest, like somehow gets frustrated and like takes her hand out, and then here comes what's her face to save the day, and she puts in her hand. Like that was it for me. That was it for me with the bomb in the chest. I was like, no.
That was just an abomination.
That joke, put him chin. Yeah.
But in real life now, when you were delivering your daughter, were you cognizant of what was going on? Like, and
I was.
Were you like knowing that okay, you make sure this is done and make sure this is done? Were you clinical?
No,
in that way?
I wasn't. I tried to just be a patient. I consciously tried to just be a patient. I didn't want to be like in there like, well, give me this and did you give me that, and you know, I didn't do that at all. So I know what it's like to have a medical person trying to be a patient and a doctor at the same time, and it can be a challenge. So I didn't want to give my doctors that challenge. So I was just a patient.
So now your daughter is 2.
She's gonna be 4 next month.
Sorry, 4.
She's gonna be 4 next month.
I don't know where I got that 2 from. She's 2 years younger than my daughter. That's where it was from. She's gonna be 4
Yeah.
next month. How are you balancing her childhood development with your profession, which is you're always on call? You told me you could get a phone call during this
Yep.
during this interview.
My phones are
I'm
right
looking
here.
at the phone. I'm looking at everything. I'm like, don't ring. But how are you balancing that?
Well, now I'm kind of in an adjustment phase because I just started my private practice. Whereas before I was just at the hospital, so I would only be on call when I'm on call for the hospital. When I wasn't on call for the hospital, then I could turn my phones off if I wanted. You know, I didn't because I said I work closely with my colleagues there. So, you know, if they ever needed me, even though I wasn't on call, I would still respond. But now when you have private patients, you're on call 24 hours a day,
Yep.
right? So it's an adjustment. but I have a good support system,
I
so
was waiting
I
for
get,
that word.
yeah, that's important. And I'll tell you this, I have a mentor in Jamaica, Dr. Mitchell. She has 4 boys, she has 4 boys. They're adults now, but she had 4 young boys when she was in residency, and a new doctor and stuff, building her practice. And I always used to wonder, and she has a big practice, like huge. And she also is a lecturer at the university for med students, residents, senior residents, junior residents, everything. I'm like, how does she balance all of this? Like, how is she doing this? And because I'm also good friends with her son, who we did residency, he's also an OGUN now, we did residency together. When I, would hang out with him at his house and stuff, I realized how she was able to balance it because her support system was so top notch. Like, her husband just, every void there was, he filled it. Every void there was, he filled it. So, that is how you're able to balance it all. I'm sure there are women who, regardless to whether there's a husband or not, they can still balance it, but it's that much easier, and that you work smarter, not harder, when you have a good support system. And I'm very appreciative of mine.
I'm glad you said that. And as a mom now, have you surprised yourself with things that you've been able to do as a mom? And
Absolutely.
Like what?
Well, I haven't had a good night's sleep in about 4 years.
Wow.
And I read somewhere that when you have a child, you don't get a good night's rest until they're 6. So I had 2 more years to go.
Wow.
Yeah, but I'm exaggerating a little bit, but you know what I mean. Like, I have been able to push through a lot of things. And, the last few years have been difficult for me, especially with my dad's death and, my mom's illness and stuff. And, being able to even finish residency under some of the circumstances I had at the time, was something that I'm very proud of. And I know my parents were very proud as well, my whole family. And even though, being able to balance everything with a young child is pretty remarkable, in my opinion.
How does she keep you on your toes?
Listen, my daughter is a little firecracker, all right? She's a little firecracker. She really challenges me to be patient and, understanding, and I try my best to, treat her as if, like, validate her feelings instead of just telling her what to do and that kind of thing. One of her favorite things to say to me is, I'll say, Myla Grace, you're not behaving. She's like, I want to behave. I want to be happy. I don't want to behave. I want to be happy. And I have to say to myself, is that such so unreasonable? It isn't, it's not an unreasonable request at all, but, I still try to make sure she has some discipline, but that's her favorite thing to say is, I don't want
to behave.
Whatever it is I'm telling her not to do. No, I want to do it because I want to be happy.
I think when she writes a book, that's going to be the title. I don't want to behave. I want to be happy. Because she will be going against the gender norms and the stereotypes, and she will literally be that force of change. I don't want to behave. I want to be happy.
Yeah. That's actually a very good title for a book.
Yes!
Yeah.
Trademark it!
Yeah, don't steal that, people.
Well,
I'm going to use it.
IP office is down the street. So, oh my God. So, let's go back to mom.
Okay.
Are there things that she did with you that you're being intentional about what you pass on to your daughter?
Absolutely. So, I think my mom is probably the strongest person that I ever knew. She is one of the strongest person I've ever known. And I get a lot of my strength from her. And I don't even think I'm half as strong as she is. So, you know, she really taught me, as I said, when I first went to Canada, for example, she was the person who basically helped me to realize that, you know, I'm there for a purpose, and even though it may be uncomfortable right now and I may prefer to be somewhere else, that the goal at hand is what I should focus on. And so, you know, I really internalized that, and that helped me to really adjust to my purpose in Canada at the time. And that's essentially what I've had to translate throughout my life, and in terms of trying to push through uncomfortable situations. And that's something I'm also instilling in my daughter, that strength and that perseverance, and of course her selflessness.
And what about Dad? What are you channeling through?
So Dad, you know, he also very strong, but you know, he really helped me to kind of, I'll give you an example. When I was studying for my exit exams in Jamaica, I mean, as you can imagine, like a specialty like obstetrics and gynecology is almost an insurmountable amount of information that you have to know, right? And Jamaica, the UWI is a school that it's not a hard sell. Like you have to know your stuff to come out of there, right? So, you know, I remember calling him more than once and saying, "But you know, I don't know if I'm ever gonna finish studying all of this stuff," you know. And he said to me, "You have to treat it like you're eating an elephant. Just eat one piece at a time, one piece at a time." And he also was somebody who was very big on time management, like managing your time. And even when we were young, studying for like CXC and so, he would say, make a timetable, make a study timetable. So you can manage your time and cover what you need to cover in a certain amount of time. And you better believe when I was studying for those exit exams, I had my study timetable, right? So I knew that I had to cover certain things in a certain amount of time. And just things like that, you know, being able to think, okay, you know, I need to manage my time properly. I need to set certain goals every day and just try to tick them off. And, you know, reading in between, like even when you didn't have exams, just me. My dad was a very, very avid reader. Like he was always in a book. And I also got that from him. He really instilled in us that knowledge comes from reading. And so I did a lot of that growing up. And, you know, university is basically all reading, right?
Yep.
So that was never an adjustment for me, because I was already taught that I needed to always be reading. So that's something that he, you know, kind of put in me that helped me to get where I am today.
Would you imagine we've pretty much come to the end?
Really? I thought I could sit here and talk for
I know.
half hour.
But what I love about what you're doing is that you're filling a void that women have needed for a few years, and that is there are many women who would have preferred a female.
Yeah, I've gotten that a lot.
And, you know, there are many people who are rejoicing. And you remind me of an entrepreneur who has found a niche market, and because of that niche, and because you're first to market, not in this era, in like this period of time, you're gonna do very well. But I want you to tell me what you want before we go. We have 10 more rapid questions, but what's your legacy that you want to leave?
Okay. I've never been asked that, but let me think. I'd like to be known as someone who always did their best, and always gave their best, not just in my career, just in everything I did. Was always kind and was always sharing and committed to a bigger purpose, because, you know, as I said, you know, the career and everything is one thing, but it actually isn't what defines me, you know.
Love it.
It's not the sum total of me. So I definitely want, when I'm gone, that people know what I stood for outside of my career as well.
There you have it, people. Wow. I love this refreshing. What I said in my promo poster was like, this is going to be a refreshing conversation. And I love the nuggets and all of it. I feel your father's presence in what you're saying.
He would have loved to hear, well, hopefully wherever he's hearing it, but he would have loved all of this. He would have loved it.
Oh, he would have been on the show.
Yeah, we probably wouldn't have gotten a word in. He was talking the whole time.
Well, I got 10 questions for you, rapid fire. I ask them first person, fire them at you, you answer them at that. We're done. Number one, my superpower as a woman is?
Being able to read a lie when I hear it.
All right. Number two, I never get tired of hearing the song over and over again.
Diary by Alicia Keys.
All right. If my daughter takes after me in this way, I'm in big trouble.
Stubborn.
Okay. A quality from Ivan, her dad, that I wanted to have is?
Kindness.
All right. I found a time machine. I went back in 2010 and saw a younger version of myself. This is what I said to her.
Spend more quality time with the ones you love.
Ooh, love it. My daughter warms my heart whenever she does this.
Whenever, so many things. Whenever I hear, I love you too.
A musical instrument I wish I could play very well.
The bass, for sure.
Ooh.
I'm gonna learn to play it too.
Nice.
That's on my bucket list, is to learn to play the bass, for sure.
Feed this to me, and you can do no wrong for the next 24 hours.
Creme brulee.
Okay. Number 9, you go to Ivan and say, babe, for the next 24 hours, I'll say yes to anything. First thing he asks is...
There's so many things.
The one thing that you say no to very often.
I don't actually say no to a lot of things.
Okay.
That's probably why I'm having a hard time to think about that
Okay,
one.
you're a keeper. All right, number 10. The best part about being on the show is...
Talking to an item.
Boop, 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 boop. There it is. There it is. Thank you so much. I'm so happy.
I had a
you
good
accepted
time.
it.
You're very good. You're a very good
Really?
interviewer.
You're
Yeah.
gonna make me blush, but I have on my mask so they can't see me blushing.
Yeah, I've been interviewed where, you know, I feel very comfortable being interviewed by you, and I've been in interviews where I'm nervous, but I didn't feel nervous today. So
I'm growing, people.
yes, very good
Episode
job.
56. I'm getting better each week. Thank you. But it takes two, by the way.
Aw.
So what you're seeing is a reflection of what you're putting
Good.
out
We
there,
should do
you
it
know.
again.
Yes.
Again.
So that's it, folks. I just want you guys to thank you for all the listeners. Jason was talking. Jason says, honored to have taught Carice and Javon in third form. Jocelyn Otley was watching. Veronica Julius and Vanessa Phillip was saying hi there, good evening. So yeah,
Should we?
thank you.
I was gonna say we should give them the phone number for the office if they.
Oh, what's the phone number of the office?
466-4807 or 466-4838.
And
People have been asking me, like, you know, how to get in contact, so I figured.
say it again, slowly.
466
All right.
4807
Uh-huh.
or 466 4838, and we are in the Sands, Unit C12, Manchester Medical.
And if you can't find it, come to WINN FM and ask
And
for
it's,
it.
yeah, it's the door next to WINN FM, actually.
All right, people, that's it. Be kind and spread love. Don't forget. See you guys next week. Bye.
More and more cable customers are getting their cable internet package upgraded for free.
I paid 3 months and I got upgraded from Flash to Bolt. So now I'm actually paying less for more.
Yes, up to double speeds and savings of up to $200 per month just for using your card to pay your bill.
I had this Bolt package, then I got this Platinum card and I paid my bill with that. They have upgraded me to Strike, which is almost double the speed now.
All it takes is a little loyalty. Use your Cable Platinum Loyalty MasterCard to pay 3 consecutive cable bills.
I was upgraded from Flash to the Bolt after paying my bill on time for 3 consecutive months, and I'm now enjoying the free upgrade.
To keep the upgrade, just continue using your Platinum Loyalty Card to pay your cable bills. Pay your bill in-store or online at www.thecable.net. Sign up for the Cable Platinum Loyalty Card today and get more. Terms and conditions apply.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. WINN FM.
If you own or work with animals, please follow these tips to avoid getting the coronavirus. Please keep pets away from areas where you are preparing food and eating your meals. Thoroughly wash your hands after handling animals and animal waste. Avoid contact with sick or stray animals. And always remember